Welcome to the channel. Today, I want to talk about something many of us experience at some point in life. The courage to live a life that no longer fits. Let's begin. Have you ever stayed somewhere long after you knew deep down you had outgrown it? Maybe it was a job. Maybe it was a relationship. Maybe it was a dream. Maybe it was a version of yourself. Not because it was right. Not because it made you happy. But because leaving felt terrifying. Most people think courage looks like taking action. Starting a business, moving to a new city, standing on a stage, taking a leap of faith. But I have to come to believe that one of the greatest acts of courage is something much quieter. The courage to admit this no longer fits. 3 simple words. 3 words that can change an entire life. We don't talk enough about that moment. The moment when something isn't necessarily terrible. It just isn't right anymore. The relationship isn't abusive. The job isn't unbearable. The life isn't falling apart. And yet, something inside us whispers, "You've outgrown this." That whisper can be incredibly difficult to hear. Because we are taught to value commitment, to keep going, stay grateful, to push through. And those are important qualities. But sometimes commitment becomes fear. Sometimes loyalty becomes habit. Sometimes staying becomes easier than facing the uncertainty of leaving. So we stay. We stay because we have history. We stay because we invested time. We stay because other people expect us to. We stay because we don't know what comes next. And the longer we stay, the more we convince ourselves that discomfort is normal. Until one day we wake up and realize we become strangers to our own lives. The hardest part is that growth changes us. The person you were 5 years ago is not the person you are today. The dreams that once inspired you may no longer inspire you. The places that once felt like home may no longer feel familiar. The future you imagined may no longer be the future you want. And that is not failure. That is growth. Growth is not always comfortable. Sometimes growth requires grief. Because every time we leave something behind, we lose something. We lose familiarity. We lose certainty. We lose the version of ourselves that once belonged there. And yet, we gain something too. We gain the possibility of becoming who we are meant to be next. The truth is, every meaningful transformation begins with an ending. A seed must stop being a seed because it becomes a tree. A caterpillar must leave behind its former shape because it becomes a butterfly. And people are no different. We cannot become who we are meant to be while clinging to every version of who we used to be. At some point, Courage asks a difficult question. What are you holding on to that no longer fits? A job? A belief? A dream? A relationship? A fear? And perhaps an even more important question, what will happen if you trusted yourself enough to let it go? Not because you have all the answers, not because you guaranteed success, but because you know that staying will require abandoning yourself. Many people believe courage is moving forward without fear. It isn't. Courage is moving forward while fear is sitting right beside you. Courage is saying, I don't know exactly what comes next, but I know I cannot stay here forever. And that changes everything. Because life is not asking us to have certainty. Life is asking us to be honest. Honest about what fits. Honest about what doesn't. Honest about who we are becoming. The most remarkable thing happens when we finally choose honesty. The energy we spend pretending becomes available for living. The energy we spend maintaining something that no longer fits becomes available for growth. The energy we spend surviving becomes available for creating. And suddenly, a future that once seemed impossible begins to appear. Not because the path becomes easier, but because we finally stop walking the wrong direction. So if you find yourself standing at the edge of a decision, and if you know something in your life no longer fits, if fear is convincing you to stay where you already are grown, remember this. You do not need permission to evolve. You do not need permission to change. You do not need permission to become someone new. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is leave behind the life that no longer fits, so you can finally step into the life waiting for you on the other side. Thank you so much for listening. If this message resonated with you, I'd love to know your thought in the comment below. And if you like more inspirational content about personal growth, starting over, and creating a life you love, please consider subscribing to the channel. Until next time, keep blooming, keep believing in yourself, and remember, you don't need permission to become who you're meant to be.